There's always been a section of the American policy elites, like Obama, who have wished basically to follow a realist line. Obama in that is very much the heir of Republican presidents like Nixon and Eisenhower. On the other hand, this has been a philosophy in America which has always found it very hard to speak its name, even when this is what they're actually practicing. It's often been necessary to accompany this, like on the other hand Obama in London with his speech, with the rhetoric of American exceptionalism, America leading the world to freedom and democracy. There's always had to be this balance. I mean, even when America was making its most exceptionalist noises under Clinton and the second Bush, you saw so many cases where, in the end, America had to negotiate, avoid intervention. Both Clinton and Bush pursued a very pragmatic policy towards China in the end, simply because they realized that America could not afford to, really push China on a number of key issues. In fact, that is the way that the world is going, and that America will, perhaps without saying so, simply have to follow. In part because of the rise of China, in part because, of course, the need to balance against China. Actually, you already do see Americans, which is somewhat premature, by the way, talking openly about India as another pole of the world. Russia certainly regards itself, and may have to be accorded, the role of a kind of lesser pole, but within its own region, the former Soviet Union. Brazil, not very ambitious on the world stage, but is within South America, is a force which more and more is going to have to be reckoned with. And once again, I think that, without necessarily saying this, the rhetoric of American exceptionalism will continue. The problem is that he did inherit Bush's war on terror. Obama didn't send the troops into Afghanistan, Bush did. Obama was then left with trying to get out of there, with honor and some measure of success, in circumstances where, of course, the United States military are now a major political force on the American scene, which the Democrats in particular cannot afford too radically to alienate. It is astonishing, after the failures and errors of the Bush years, that Republican foreign policy is still dominated by the neoconservatives. They dominate the institutions. They dominate the staff of the leading Republican candidates. Well, because as the Republicans themselves so often say, Washington is rather different from the rest of America. Striking, for example, that the Tea Parties are, it's not that they are obviously anti-nationalist, if you look at the statements by Palin and Bachmann. But if you look at the mass of the Tea Parties, they are much more sceptical about foreign policy adventures and commitments, above all foreign policy spending.